Hello and welcome back into the Pain and Panic podcast. And joining us, collabing with us on YouTube, Mr. Joe Tubman from Trust the Podcast. Joseph, known Sixers fan, how are you doing?
Well, I mean, you brought in the Sixers right at the top. We can get into that later, but excited to be here though. Didn't really have a lot of time to host my own trade deadline pod this week, so glad I got the invite. And I'll do my best to fill in for Utah Jazz fan Adam Sheets as well because they made a big move as we can talk about. But I thought this was an interesting deadline. I mean, a lot of kind of these older stars on their way out, but still kind of relevant getting moved. That was interesting to see. And my Sixers did nothing, but maybe we could get to that later. But yeah, I don't know. It was interesting, that's for sure.
Well, I think the biggest NBA trade deadline story is no story at all. And that is the Bucks and Giannis Antetokounmpo,
Mm.
probably the best player that has really been in trade talks in recent years, and nothing happens. And this is one of those things where the Bucks have been on the fence about trading him for a long time, and it seems like a lot of teams wanted him, and then it seems like the Bucks didn't actually want to get a trade done. So, let's start here. Do you think the Bucks should have traded Giannis? And what do you think this whole, should they trade him not was really about?
Yeah, I mean, I think they should have traded him. We talked about it before last summer. I mean, I thought they were going nowhere. Certainly didn't like what they did in the offseason. And then I think I understand he's hurt right now, so maybe that kind of disincentivized some contenders from wanting to make that move right now, right? Like, if we trade some pieces, then Giannis is sidelined for another month. Like, it could derail our playoff push, whatever. Teams like Miami and Atlanta, for example, that I think were rumored at one point, maybe that was part of the thinking there. Like, if Miami gives up half their rotation for Giannis and then he's not playing for a month, they might not even make the play. Well, they'll make the play-in, of course, but they may not make the playoffs. So, in Atlanta, I think was a similar thought process. So, I think it's not super surprising that the perfect deal couldn't come together, but I think Milwaukee should have been aggressive in trying to find that deal and recoup as much draft assets as possible because you get to the offseason, it's one less year these teams have Giannis under contract. I still think they could have gotten a sizable package now. It seemed like the Wolves were this late stage, out of nowhere kind of rumored to go after
Yeah.
Giannis and then didn't come together. Conflicting reports about why that was, but I don't know. If you're to believe Shams, because it sounds like Shams is just repeating whatever Giannis's agents tell him, the Bucks were very much making a lot of moves to accommodate Giannis by acquiring Nick Richards, but I don't think that's going to help them.
Well, I think the Giannis thing just boils down to the fact that he is a loyal guy, and they have no existence or real purpose in our life without Giannis. The moment the Bucks trade Giannis Antetokounmpo, they become irrelevant. No one's going to think about the Milwaukee Bucks for a very long time. They don't have their pick this year, so they don't have incentive to tank. Yet, when they have Giannis and they can't put anything around him, you're just wasting Giannis. And he's older, and we've seen more and more of these little injuries come on these last few years. I want to see Giannis win another ring. I want to see him play meaningful games. I'm tired of watching him waste away in Milwaukee. They had a very good run from 2018 to 2022. They were a fun team that you could be a real contender. And then since really the Dame trade, it hasn't worked out for them. Part of it, maybe not their fault, some injury luck, but now the team is gone. They went too aggressive, and now everything's blown up. The window closed. Now, Giannis won them a ring. They should do what's right by him and just trade him to a better spot. But the issue, though, is because they don't have their pick, everything's all messed up. If they have their own pick, trade Giannis, get young pieces, no problem. But there's no value in losing that much this year.
I still don't get why New York wasn't interested in a Towns and Giannis swap. That was never rumored even at all. I think fans brought it up, but I don't really feel like the insiders were ever talking about it. I don't know. I think that's another thing the Bucks could have done. You could trade Towns for a bigger package later. I guess the Knicks just don't have a lot of draft picks, but I feel Towns was a salary that made sense. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the perfect fit was there. But I also, like I said, I think they just should have found something because I'm just kind of confused, to be honest. And it's kind of been a long saga of reporting that has kind of just gone nowhere. But it's it seems like all these different teams were allegedly ready to make a move for Giannis, and then you actually look at it and it's well, what package really was there? So I don't know. I don't know who's to blame for this not getting done. To be honest,
I'm
it's
blaming the
kind of
Bucks.
confusing me.
I'm blaming the Bucks because I can't believe that of all these teams, no one offered a good enough package for Giannis, and the Bucks don't have the leverage because they only have Giannis and they have nothing else. And these other teams are like, all right, he doesn't want to be there, and it's not like you're good with him, so they need to get rid of him to do right by him. So they should just do what's right, but they need to get something that makes sense for their team. The issue is their team is in such a terrible situation. Nothing makes sense. They're paying Dame the next few years still because they stretched out that
Yeah,
contract. They just got
right.
Miles Turner's big contract, and it's like, I don't know what you're doing. I don't, but we can move on from Giannis, but he'll be wasting away in Milwaukee. And then this offseason, I think he definitely is going to be traded. About Cat, real quick, it was rumored that the Knicks were contemplating a Cat thing, but like they wanted a Giannis trade and it had to include Cat because he's kind of the odd fit on the team. He's not a Villanova guy, so like, bye, get out of here. So, and he's played terrible the last, probably month for his standards. He has not had a good month. So, I don't know. And I think the next season's kind of been indirectly derailed based on this Giannis trade affecting them. But we will see now, Joseph. I'm gonna more shift to you hosting here as bring up the
Sure.
next trade you would like to talk about.
I think the most important trade that happened is probably the Garland and Harden trade because
Yep.
well, and it also kind of leads into the other Clippers trade, which we can touch on soon as well. But I mean, we were texting about it. I mean, obviously, neither of us are Harden guys at this point. But
No.
I'm just perplexed because not only does this, in my opinion, not make them better this year, Cleveland's also been getting better. I feel like they've been playing pretty well over the past 3-4 weeks. They're back in the top 5 in the East after that slow start. And I get Garland has been kind of iffy this year, but I don't like a Harden and Mitchell fit. And Harden, the Cavs are trying to get over the playoff hump, and it's Harden never gets over the playoff hump, and he's 36 years old. Like I don't understand the thinking here. I know you're probably not one to defend it either. But
No.
I do think it was the biggest trade just because of those two teams are in the playoff race.
What will it take for James Harden to be happy? No matter where he goes, he finds a way to ask a trade out. It's kind of like Kevin Durant at this point, where great talent, wherever he goes after a few years, not even, he wants out. And it looks like for Harden, it was like the Clippers were playing their best basketball over the last month. They've been looking great, or last month and a half, and Harden still isn't happy and he wants to leave. Is he going to be happier in Cleveland? James Harden's, reputation. Houston, Philly, Los Angeles. No, he's in Cleveland. Like, please, he's not going to like it. I'm sure he's going to ask out in a little bit. And from a basketball standpoint, Mitchell needs the ball. And I would say Mitchell's a better player right now than James Harden is currently. So he's not going to be the main guy, at least on the Clippers. Kawhi wasn't as ball dominant and Harden could kind of be more of a playmaker. So I just don't know why this is better for him. I don't know what situation there could be in basketball where James Harden is happy.
Yeah, I agree. I think I mean, if this goes back in Philly when he was honestly a huge part of Embiid's MVP season and getting him those kind of looks. Like Harden was probably the best playmaker in the NBA that season. And then the reports came out like Harden wishes he had more touches. He wishes he was still running the offense. And then I don't know, I guess maybe with Kawhi, coming on lately that he's healthy right now. The Clippers are playing great. Harden doesn't like being the number 2 option. Maybe there's also, I think there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there that like something's coming the Clippers' way for the whole Kawhi aspiration stuff, and maybe that's why they're making these trades. I don't really think that's it. I honestly think that I feel like that would have happened by now. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend like I know all the ins and outs behind closed doors of that, but based on the reporting that we've got from that, I don't know. It's kind of gone on the back burner since the season started. The Clippers are playing very well right now. They got themselves all the way back into that play-in race. So I don't know. If they had just made this trade and not made the Zubac trade, which we can get to, I would have been like, okay, they're just upgrading to Garland and Cleveland was desperate. But now I'm a little confused by the Clippers' direction after they also traded Zubac. I don't know, Chris. Like, do you think Harden makes Cleveland better?
I will say Garland is a guy who I think we like the idea of so much more than what he actually is right now. And he's not asked to do a lot because you're on the team with Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. So I always want him to be, a good shooter who could really facilitate, and he doesn't have great defense. I know that, but maybe not be terrible on defense. But I want him to be like a Chris Paul without the defense. And sometimes he just doesn't really do a lot of anything, and he's a huge defensive liability. So I get it if Cleveland's like, listen, Mitchell could do most of the playmaking, or if we get Harden here, he could do the actual playmaking we needed and probably score better than Garland for right now. And the team was off to a rough start. Maybe they want to go in this year because the Celtics, who knows when Tatum comes back and the Pacers aren't in it and the Knicks look like they're falling apart. The Magic didn't really take that leap. So maybe they're thinking this is the time to really try to go in, and Harden is, I think, a slight upgrade over Darius Garland. However, I just cannot stand having James Harden on my team. James Harden has not proven he could come in and win you a championship. The only credit that Harden deserves is he did not gain a ton of weight in order to be traded. That's the only thing more admirable about this trade than all the other ones.
Well, this one came
really
out of nowhere.
so
This
one made the least amount of sense.
Yeah.
In Houston, he felt like the team kind of missed its window. So actually, well, the Thunder, whatever, that was different. In the Houston, the team missed its window. He wanted to leave. They go to the Nets, and him leaving actually gave the Rockets so much back that they actually were able to build a new team. And then on the Nets, Kyrie and Kevin Durant, I get it. That was the Real Housewives, for the NBA, just those three. And then he goes to Philly, and it's like, all right, Harden, like 2 times you asked out, and then he doesn't change anything. They were the same team before him, and nothing changed. He asked for a trade. Outcome-wise, the outcome was the same.
All right. Well,
lost to the Celtics in the playoffs.
Because he chose.
Yes, that's what I mean. Harden didn't help them. He was the same problem. He gave them a different form of a playoff choker, and then he goes to LA, and then it's like, all right, let's see what Harden could do. They do need more of a scoring guard and less of a forward, and then they start to win, and he wants to leave. I just don't get it. I don't get it.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't either. I was talking about on Trust the Pod last week. Me and Zach Karp were talking about how the Cavs are like maybe the biggest threat to the Sixers in a first round matchup in the East. I feel a lot better about that now. I just think Harden, I think Embiid will be especially motivated to stick it to him. And just generally speaking, I don't think there's nothing there. I don't have some thought out analytical breakdown of this. All you have to do is look at how many times James Harden has choked in the playoffs. We're at a point where it's just, that's all I have to say. It's happened every single year, and he's 36 years old. He's been a all-star, what level player, whatever, for over a decade, and it's never happened. So I'm not worried about the Cleveland Cavaliers in the playoffs now. Not to mention that they've also had their own flameouts with the current core, with Garland and not Garland too, but Allen and Mobley not showing up as well has been an issue. So we'll see.
That's where I would have looked to make a trade if I was Cleveland. Look at those 2 trees in the paint. They're both trees. They can't do anything different. They're both really good defenders in the paint, and they're both, they could both score when they're right next to the basket. And they're oddly bad at rebounding together, which is just unacceptable when you're both 7 feet tall. So I would have tried to, change something, add some other element to their game, but they didn't. Instead, they changed, all right, maybe get some value for Garland because he's kind of always hurt. I get getting rid of Garland because you have Mitchell. I feel like maybe they're redundant, but when they traded DeAndre Hunter too, so he wasn't a big piece for them, but they thought it was going to be a big piece last year. I don't know what they're doing. And for the Clippers, we get to Zubac.
Yeah.
To the Pacers, which to your point kind of seem. I think it's good for the Pacers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For the Clippers, I don't know what the point was.
Yeah. I'm perplexed because they didn't even make a move to get a 5. It's now Yannick from Penn State and Brook Lopez, who's 37 years old.
Baby.
Yannick is going to play legit minutes because unless they pick up a buyout guy that I don't see coming, but doesn't really feel like that's a big thing this year, or even the past couple of years, I don't really feel like the buyout market has been what it was 5-10 years ago. They have no center now who's legitimate, and that tells me that they're kind of backing off of this playoff surge that they've been having, which is really confusing because they've been playing very, very well. They've been a top 5 team in the NBA since late December. So maybe there is something coming with Kawhi. Like I don't understand it because I mean Zubac. I mean we were texting about it. Like yeah, he hasn't been an all-star center level this year like he was last year, but he's still been really solid. Like and he's only 28 years old as you pointed out. So and he's under contract for 2 more seasons at a pretty fair price.
Yeah.
And now the Pacers they pretty much upgraded from Miles Turner in record time. We can talk about that trade, the protection on that pick, but to stick with the Clippers, I'm really perplexed. I don't know what the plan is.
Yeah, I would say if the Clippers get the 5th pick in this draft,
Mm-hmm.
all right, maybe it was worth it. But like, there's a very small chance of that. The protections are 1 through 4 and then 10 and beyond. So unless it's
Yeah.
5 through 9, the Pacers keep their pick. So
Mm-hmm.
I just don't really like the Clippers are taking a big leap. And I'm sorry, karma's a thing. You're not getting that pick, Clippers. Look at the tree money instead. So I just think unless they get really lucky, this trade's not going to make a ton of sense because then like the Pacers are going to get good again because I think they would get the Pacers pick in 2029 they also get. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Halliburton, assuming he's healthy, they're probably going to keep Zubac, and then they've done a good job of just getting guys that can play on their team and play their style. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
really know what the Clippers' long-term view is, especially because Kawhi's still there.
Yeah, yeah, and probably not going anywhere. Like I don't maybe. That's the thing. Like I feel like they should have been trading him too if this was the plan.
I
Not
don't know
that
who's going
Garland.
to trade for Kawhi though.
Yeah, I was thinking Detroit maybe. That was kind of floated out there, like just as they need a forward. But I don't know.
He
Like
says he has a leg injury tomorrow, and then in that trade you automatically lose.
yeah, that's true.
It's like at
Yeah,
that
I
point,
don't
just go
know.
get Giannis for that value.
Right, that's fair. Yeah, like Garland's good. Like I'm not saying they can't win games with Garland, but like is Garland, Yannick Konen Niederhauser, the two like young guys they've been playing a lot, Sanders and Miller and Kawhi is now the core. So to me, you're punting on everything you've been doing this year. I don't get why they put all this effort into turning their season around. Well, I guess they don't own their pick because the Thunder have it, but like, still, I, I don't know. I can't even explain it. I have no rationale.
Let's go back in time. Right before the playoffs, the hot, trendy pick was the Clippers to win the finals. They were playing the best basketball of anyone going into the playoffs. They took Denver to 7, and then Denver took OKC to 7. So basically, there wasn't that big of a gap between them and these other top teams. So the fact that they decided to kind of give it all up now after turning things around is a little weird. So we could kind of move on. Just this was a team that is lacking a clear direction for the future. And for the Pacers, good job. You got, a good center. You replaced Miles Turner. I mean, Turner was cool because he was a good deep shooter and his pick and roll, he could stay up high and Halliburton could work off of him, but I'm sure Zubac can figure it out, so I think you're fine. And also, Turner got a lot of money, so you at least have a cheaper deal with Zubac the next few years.
I think it was just a really interesting trade because they were basically like, we're not giving up this, draft position we've had, but we also think that we might be too good because now that a big part of why they've been so bad is that first 2 months, Nemhard and Neesmith were injured, and TJ McConnell too, and now they're kind of healthy, and they might almost be like, there's no way we might not actually hold on to this lottery pick. So they're almost like kind of like, well, either we'll get one of those 4 stars, or we might wind up outside of the top 10 in the draft order if we win enough games. So I don't know. I kind of like their logistics, and yeah, they might lose if the pick falls to 5th or 6th. They lose it, but at that point, I think you would trade that for Zubac when they need a center that bad. So I liked it.
All right. Well, I agree in agreement about the Pacers. What trade do you want to talk about next?
Let's talk about the Jaren Jackson trade, even though Adam's not here.
Let me pull up my text with Adam. I told him to text me his thoughts. Let's see if he did it.
Sure.
Let's see. Nope, he never texted me. He
said, I'm texting in the group chat yesterday. It seemed
he said, I'm not going to be able to make it. Really wanted to. Stinks because the Jazz actually made a move.
Yeah.
But he did mention it last night a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't think he's thrilled. I don't think he's thrilled, though.
No. Okay.
I think he is happy that they did something. I do think though it is a little weird with Jaren Jackson Jr., Laurie
Mhm.
Markkinen, Walker Kessler. That's a lot of big guys. And then Ace Bailey, who's Adam was saying, we're going to put Ace Bailey, the 6'10 point guard. So he was a little skeptical of the fit, I think, but I do think he likes that they did something at Jaren because I like Jaren a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe less in recent years, but like he did win Defensive Player of the Year.
Hmm. I think I kind of see the vision that the Ainge family. I mean, it's kind of hard to figure out if Danny or Austin's calling the shots these days, but I like the vision that they have, provided they re-sign Walker Kessler. I think he's really just one of the more underrated rim protectors in the NBA. He's hurt right now. He's only played 5 games this season. If they re-sign him and you have a legit rebounder at the 5, then
Yeah.
all of a sudden Jaren Jackson can go back to like that, just being an amazing weak side defender. He can also give up some of that offensive burden that, he's kind of been more inefficient in Memphis the last 2 years because he's shooting more.
Yeah.
You play him off Laurie Markkinen. I think that's a really solid, defensive front court with those three, mainly Jackson and Kessler, but I like the size. You have George's breakout, I think, is a big part of this. You have two guys averaging 24 points a game, maybe more for Laurie. I forget his exact numbers, but I like it. I like it. And Ace is going to have to come along, but I think maybe you put him in a 6-man role, kind of let him have the ball in his hands next year, and then you figure out what to do with the 2 guard. I mean, I think we're going to see some stealth tanking. Jaren Jackson's pinky might hurt. Utah doesn't want to give up their lottery pick. You bring in, say, if Utah gets in the top 4 of this draft, I think there's a real case that next season, not only could they be like a top half of the league at worst defense, they'd also have enough scoring, enough talent that that's at least a play-in team. And you could say, well, what does that do for them? I don't know. Like, if George is pretty young, Ace Bailey's obviously super young. Who's to say those guys can't keep getting better? You have 2 veterans that are proven in Jackson and Laurie. I'm going the other way. I think the Jazz have been really bad for the past 4 years. I like this move for them. I think it shows initiative, and it shows that they're trying to get out of this hole they've had. And I've thought they've drafted really well over the past few years, and part of that was this trade. I mean, like, not that Clayton or Hendricks have lit the world on fire in the NBA at all, but like, I don't know, like, it helped them facilitate this trade. Like, those first round picks were able to turn into Jaren Jackson. So I don't know. And also, they didn't give up anything super valuable draft picks wise. So I like it. I think it's a good move for Utah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think though, next year, what does that team of Keontae George, Laurie, Jaren Jackson, and Kessler with Ace Bailey probably off the bench, what does that get you? I'm not sure. Especially in the West.
My argument would be you don't need them. It doesn't need to be a title, right? Like, I think it's you get some of these young guys into the playoffs with your 2 veterans in the front court leading the way. Like, they're veterans, but they're not 30. Like, they're still young enough that they can stick around.
Yeah.
I think it's just get that. It's kind of like Houston 2 years ago. Like, get in the race. Just get in the playoffs. Or like even Memphis when Jaren was there. Like, they wanted to be more than that, but at least those first couple of years, it was viewed as a positive that young group was able to get into the playoffs. So I don't know, just being in the conversation again, I think is the first step. Like, I mentioned Houston. Like, sometimes that happens, right? Like, we saw Houston go from maybe one of the worst defenses in the league to, in a season's time, they were like 20 games better. Yeah. But sometimes you just need to like gradually grow it from lottery team, mediocre team, contender. Like, I don't know.
I do think it's a little weird in a draft where there is at least 3, maybe 4 top guys that you really want, that you do make a trade that helps you right now with Utah, because it's like, listen, they've been tanking for forever.
Yeah.
This is a good draft. Keep tanking, and then maybe in the offseason make this trade compared to now. But that was my only real, like, why now type of deal, unless they really like Jaren and they didn't know if he was going to be available in the offseason, or I don't know. But that's kind of my thoughts for Utah. I hope they can still get a top pick, because if they get a top pick with Keontae George, Laurie, Jaren, Ace Bailey, and Kessler, I like that a lot more. For Memphis, how do you wake up with a smile on your face if you're a Memphis Grizzlies fan, Joe?
You don't.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think you can. But to me, this is just a full-on reset for their franchise, and I think it's what was needed. Now they still got to move Ja, but unfortunately
That's
Ja
the
doesn't
thing.
have value. But I think it's time to rebuild, and I think this was the right call by the front office.
I agree it was the right time to rebuild, but I think keeping Ja there ruins the idea of the reset because your culture is still this toxic conversation about him every day. And
Yeah,
because no one wants him, I don't know what they do. I'm kind of just baffled at like how this went from this fun, really exciting team that kind of everyone liked to a team that feels like it has no hope and has turned on itself completely. So I'm fine with trading Jaren and Bane in the offseason, but I think you just have to get rid of Ja. I don't care. I mean, you need to get something for him, but like he ruined his trade value. So I don't know what they could have done, but just I would have liked to fully reset.
yeah, I agree with that. I think they're stuck. He's got a really bad contract the way he's been playing. So, yeah, I think they're gonna have to find a way to move him. But regardless, I think they've now brought in eight first rounders for Bane and Jaren. Like, could be a lot worse. Like, that's a solid way to start a rebuild.
I think everything besides Ja they've actually done a pretty good job of.
Mm-hmm. No, that's fair.
Yeah,
So another rebuilding. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Joe, the NBA wants to expand overseas. What
Mm-hmm.
if the Grizzlies make a deal? Adam, new face of the European League, John Morant. You get him. We just void his contract here.
Yeah.
That might be the solution. But continue. We can
Hey
go
man,
on.
that let him rebuild his value
Hey,
over there. Why not? Why
Terry
not?
Rozier, John Morant, face of the European NBA Association.
I don't know if Terry's getting another chance, but yeah. But what I was going to say was, speaking of rebuilding teams that made, seemingly win now moves, another team was the Wizards bringing in Anthony Davis, and honestly, not having to give up too much to get him, which is a big reason why I actually, once again, I'm gonna defend the Wizards for this move. I kind of like it, but I'm curious what you have to say.
It's kind of sad that I kind of forgot about Anthony Davis because Jaren Jackson and James
Yeah.
Harden. For the Wizards, the bar is so low that Trae Young and Anthony Davis getting you a play in is actually a win.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for any other team, I would have criticized them for trading for a guy who's always hurt, who mentally, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Like, just he was the future of the league and future of a franchise in New Orleans, became an incredible second fiddle to LeBron, and then just became a number two, and
Mm-hmm.
then was traded for Luka, and everyone just destroyed 80's value because it was compared to Luka,
Mm-hmm.
and then he got hurt, and I just like the vibes of the AD are so weird, but he actually is still good at basketball. So I guess it's good for the Wizards because they can kind of compete. I don't even know if Trae Young helps them that much. I'm sorry. At least Davis is very good defensively that when people just walk by Trae Young without any restrictions or any pressure, that Davis can
Mm-hmm.
help.
Well, I thought the tweet that I saw that I really liked was the Wizards built a better team around Trae Young in 1 month than the Hawks did in 8 years or whatever it was. I mean, I really like the idea of Sar and if he's healthy, Anthony Davis, as you just mentioned, like as the back line of that defense. I think they could be honestly a really dangerous defensive combo. Now that, of course, as we both mentioned, requires Anthony Davis to play basketball games. If he can do that, I think the Wizards are right on track. They still have a little bit of cap space left, even after bringing in Davis and Trae Young. And Trae Young's not going to play this year. We know Davis probably won't play a lot of games. So I think, once again, similar argument to Utah, but even maybe more so. I think they get one of those top 4 picks. You bring that guy in. I like Trey Johnson a lot still. Keyshawn George has flashed some potential. And I kind of like Trae Young and Anthony Davis as a pairing. As I think that's a good 1-2 punch of like Trae Young, maybe not. Maybe some of the lobs will be going Sar's way nowadays instead of Davis. You don't want him to get injured, but
Yeah.
I could see that working. And as much as I don't love Trae Young, I don't think he's like the best player on a championship team, Eastern Finals team. Well, okay, I guess I shouldn't say that because of course he got to the Eastern Finals by beating the Sixers. But you know what I'm trying to say.
Eastern Conference,
Most years Trae Young is not the best player on a Final Four team,
no, he
but
is not.
I'm a lot higher on him than you. I do think as a creator, he still has a lot of things to give, and I think whether he's setting up the big guys in the pick and roll or finding shooters like Trey Johnson, I actually think he's going to be a pretty good Wizard. And I don't know, call me crazy. I think the Wizards could be a top 10 to top 8 team in the East next season, and it could be even better if the guy they draft is a stud right away.
Well, one thing that is just kind of odd, again, another team towards the bottom of the league, so, good for the draft lottery, that in a really good draft class is improving their team now. So right now, the Wizards had the fourth best odds, so they are one of the...
That's it. I thought they were even higher.
Okay, they're tied for second for the worst record.
Yeah.
They only have 13 wins, and 4 other teams have that, but right now they're fourth.
Okay.
I would have just continued the tank, but also Washington finds a way to, sometimes things don't go the way. But you know what? They had Gilbert Arenas. They had John Wall right there. So, they do actually have good luck, sometimes. So, I don't know. I think it's odd to go in when you're tanking, and it's a good draft class.
Yeah, I think it kind of, on the topic of the tanking, I think it makes more sense for Washington than Utah to make this trade now because Jaren's not hurt. Like, they're going to have to completely make up an injury to get him not to play, where Trae Young's already pretty much out for the season. Davis probably is going to be hurt.
Yeah.
Honestly, I lose track of when Davis is hurt and when he's not. I think he's had like 3 different injuries for Dallas this season alone, and it's hard to figure out when he's even playing because I don't watch Dallas every night. I think because of how like unavailable these guys are right now, the Wizards don't have much to worry about in terms of losing that draft pick. Standing. I honestly don't think they should worry about it.
Good point. Right now, the updated worst record, Sacramento Kings. Good job, Sacramento.
They're number 1? Wow.
Yeah, they're 12-40. They're the only team below 13 wins.
They should have traded like literally at least one more guy besides Schroeder. I don't know what they're doing.
Listen, Russ is winning them those 12 games right now, so they're fine. Then the Pelicans are there, but that goes to the Hawks.
That's right. Yeah.
Most ridiculous move, whatever.
Yeah.
Pacers are third, and fourth are the Wizards. They're tied with the Nets, and then the Jazz are sixth, and Mavericks are 7, but the Bucks at 8 are trying to catch them.
Oh, the Bucks. The Bucks could really get into that top 5.
But they don't have their pick. It goes to New Orleans.
Oh. Wait, New Orleans gets the Bucks pick. Oh, wow.
Right, doesn't it?
Or isn't it Portland?
It might be Portland.
No, I think it's right. No, I thought it was Portland, but it is New Orleans.
Because it's from the Drew trade, the first Drew trade.
Yeah, you're right. So how about that? How about the Bucks of all? Who would have expected them bailing the Pelicans?
9 are the Grizzlies, and if Jaren leaving really hurts them, then maybe they could slide down too.
That's another one, yeah.
Cooper Flag looks good.
That's going to be a race to the bottom. All 9 of those teams you just mentioned. Maybe not Dallas with Flag and if Kyrie comes back, but every other team.
There was a stat or whatever fact. It was AD, Kyrie, and Flag never played a game together.
Yeah. And Kyrie and Davis only played, I think it was 25 minutes together. So they wound up trading Luka for Max Christie, the 2026 Oklahoma City Thunder first-round pick, the 2030 Golden State Warriors first-round pick, and all the junk that they got back in that Davis trade today, like Marvin Bagley, D'Angelo Russell, all that. They got nothing for Luka Doncic. Like,
to be fair to this AD trade, different leadership, different management. So
you're right.
Yeah, but I agree with you on a team perspective. As a fan perspective, you're like, this just makes it even worse. Like, I was already stabbed in the chest, and then they just ripped it open even more. They're like, you lose everything. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Anyways, fun to be a Dallas Mavericks fan. Actually, you know what? I can't even say that because they do have Cooper Flag. So there is hope there. And you do have Kyrie, and I actually think they still have good pieces. I still like Derek Lively, Gafford, I think probably should have been traded to like 10 teams that could have really used them. Mm-hmm. But I do think they still have talent. Yeah. I was saying this today. Imagine if they just didn't trade Luka.
Right.
Like, wow. Kyrie probably wouldn't have gotten hurt because he would have had to play 45 minutes a game. Yeah. You'd have Luka, you'd have Derek Lively, they would have had their pick.
Chris, this is just the team that made the finals. Like they still have most of these guys.
Great point, Joe. Maybe they should have traded. They added Klay Thompson, and
Najee Marshall too. They added
Najee
him.
Marshall,
Yeah.
and they would have had with Luka hurt last year, maybe that's not Cooper Flag, but they would have had an
Yeah.
A pick last year. I don't know. I just don't know. I was saying that today, and I was just like, I know Luka's in LA, and we're all happy, but like, we'd be better off if we just had Luka on a good finals team, and the Lakers were just like fun in their own way.
Yeah. By the way, the Lakers completely flopped this trade deadline. They had the Rui, Maxi Kleba, and Gabe Vincent expirings for like 50 combined million. That was a topic everybody talked about in the offseason. Like, what are the Lakers going to do in the trade? And all they got was Luke Kennard. Like, no disrespect, but he's not going to move the needle for this. A team that can't play defense, and that's all they added was Luke Kennard? That's crazy.
I understand surround Luka and LeBron with shooting. You also have to surround them with defense, and we're just gonna see this.
You mentioned Gafford. Maybe the Lakers and maybe the Mavericks don't want to trade with the Lakers anymore.
But the Mavericks are probably banned from trading with LA, but they do need a guy that can roll with Luka. I think Ayton has been okay, but he's not been like great, So like, get someone that works well with Luka, and then get someone better defensively. Get some wings that can play defense. Like, I think also too, you probably could have, if they could have gotten a ton for Reeves, I would have traded Reeves.
Yeah, that's a tough one, just because I don't know what the post LeBron world looks like, and you might still need Reeves.
Maybe you just wait for LeBron to leave this year, then you can really build around Luka.
Yeah. Just a couple. There's a couple other quick ones we can hit. Like, I thought Minnesota picking up Ayo Dosunmu was huge for them. They've really needed a point guard all season. He's shooting 45% from three. Doesn't really need the ball. Like, he seems like the perfect guy to play next to Anthony Edwards. And then
how does this impact Bones Highland?
Honestly, probably not much. I mean, they traded Rob Dillingham, so I think Bones Highland's still in the running for some third string point guard minutes. So
okay, good.
But DiVincenzo, they put him back on the bench now, and that was a big part of their success last year. So I kind of like the bench mom getting to get back and going.
They also did trade Mike Conley away. The Timberwolves did.
Yeah. I
think it was like hey, he's costing us money. We like Mike. He's a good guy, but he's kind of just washed at this point. So, they brought the dog out to the farm, and he's in a better place now.
Well, no, he's not. He's unemployed right now, but I'm sure someone will sign him.
Metaphorically with the dog analogy, but
but hopefully, I'm sure someone will pick him up. Hey, man, go hang out in Memphis. Like, go retirement tour. Chris Paul didn't get his retirement tour. Give Mike Conley his retirement tour.
Mike Conley can't play any more defense, but he could shoot a little bit, so he's a perfect fit for the Lakers. That's really what they're into nowadays. So we'll see.
But yeah, I like that. Chris, we did my top 100 players. I had Kobe White 50th. I thought he was on the upswing and was like a future all-star. And then he gets hurt. There's this whole contract dilemma where the Bulls can't give him an extension like that would be up to like his caliber of player because of some technicalities in the rules. So it's like, all right, I'm going to have to be an unrestricted free agent. And then the Bulls have like 80 other point guards. And now he goes to Charlotte for some second-round picks. And like instantly to me is the best bench player in the NBA. I thought that was a really nice move for Charlotte, who's on the upswing right now.
The Hornets are tough because every move they make, I think they're actually running well now. That's kind of, that's the problem is that they've been poorly run. And now that they are, it's like, oh, cool. But it's, they're not going to make some gigantic trade that's resetting the whole team, putting them forward. But it's like little pieces here and there. So I think in a few years, they're actually going to be really pretty, not great, like winning a title, but I think they could actually be a real, like, decent team.
Yeah. No, I agree. LaMelo's going to be the X factor, but he's been pretty healthy lately, and that's a big part of why they've been surging. So hopefully they can keep
trade him for Ja Morant.
No, I'd rather have LaMelo for sure.
You'd rather LaMelo, but I just can't take him either. He's on my list.
Yeah, and then Boston got. I was surprised Boston traded Simons, but they got Vucevic. Like, okay, like it gives them another center.
Say what you're thinking, Joe.
Defensively, it don't help them at all. I think Cade is still going to start. So, like, he's just a weird fit. And I think he slows – well, they already play pretty slow in terms of pace. But I still don't think come playoff time he's a fit. Like, this trade made me want the Sixers to play Boston in the playoffs. And that's, like, something I would never say. But like,
Simons is a great heat check. Could really light it up in a few minutes. It kind of give them a different look. Yeah. And I really like that. Vucevic – had a great year in the Magic. Then he got traded to the Bulls, and it's kind of just been like a boring center that could kind of space the floor, not play defense.
Mm-hmm.
I do like Vucevic. I don't get why he would be on the Celtics. It's not what they need. He could shoot, and maybe he's like their Horford replacement. But at least Horford was
Well,
better
what I was
defensively.
thinking was, remember, not like when KP was good, but like when KP in the finals. Remember when KP came back from injury in the finals and was just shooting threes? Like that's
Yeah,
kind of
when they
what
were
I
like,
think
"Let's
Vooch is
get you on the court so you can experience the win, but you can't actually do anything
yeah,
besides shoot."
pretty much. That's what I
Yeah,
think Vooch is going to be. But like you mentioned it, like I feel like Simons was actually a huge part of what they did this season. Now I guess they're getting Tatum back, but like when's that happening? I mean, we're already in February. There's no date secured yet. It's gonna be in March probably, late February.
I
Um,
wouldn't want to bank on that either. You don't want to
right.
bank on rushing Tatum back off an Achilles injury. And
So
I'm
I
sorry, Simons is better than Vucevic. Why'd you make the trade? They're good this year. They weren't
yeah
tanking. If they were tanking, sure, get rid of Simons. That's what we thought they were going to do. They actually kept him. The team was playing well. Now they traded away Simons, who was a bright spot for them, for an old center who can't play defense that could shoot a little bit.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I do like Vucevic, but it's
Is
not a fit.
is the thought process that Pritchard will go back to being the sixth man? Because I think he's been really good. Like it feels like he's kind of entrenched as the starter. Isn't the starting lineup? Maybe I'm forgetting someone, but wouldn't it still be Pritchard, White, Brown, Tatum, Kada? Or am
Oh,
I?
so when Tatum comes back,
Yeah, am I forgetting someone? No, because they've been starting Sam Hauser at the four, so Tatum would take his starting spot.
you'd think.
So
I mean,
Pritchard wouldn't go back to the bench. So now I feel like their bench is really like kind of lacking.
maybe they could put Pritchard on the bench to spread the wealth a little bit. I actually think Tatum's probably going to start coming off the bench though, because ease him back in, so maybe that helps.
He'll
But
just play a minutes restriction. I think
yeah,
it doesn't matter.
maybe. But
It's
I
kind
also
of
think too, like you kind of want him to come in playing bench players, to ease
Mhm.
back in, kind of
Sure.
help with the fact that you have a weak bench.
Hmm.
I don't get it. I really don't. But we'll see how it goes. That there were some trades this year where I'm just like, why would that help it? Like, what's the purpose of that? Because I see why the Bulls did it. They're like, all right,
Sixers?
or the Sixers, like, but
No.
I'm
I mean, like in terms of, I wasn't correcting you on what you just said. I meant like you said, why are teams doing
oh yeah, you said that, and in my head, I'm like, wait, Vucevic was on the
it?
Sixers. He was a long time ago, but yeah, no, like. Because when you said it, I was like, right, Vucevic was on the Sixers, and I was like, that was so long ago that
Right.
was
I
like,
was just answering you saying like I don't
I
understand.
got you. I got you. But no, the Bulls are like, all right, cool. We'll take Simons. He's younger, could score really well. They swapped second round picks. Like,
Mm-hmm.
cool. You moved up 20 spots in the second round. Like,
Right.
what's. Oh, now the trade's worth it, guys. We got, that's the difference between Bronny and, you know, some random guy at the end of the second round. I just don't get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the Bulls they also picked up Jaden Ivey, which like I liked, but now you have Jaden Ivey, Josh Giddey. Like they still have too many guards even after making the trades they made today. But they're I think as weird as they are, I think the Bulls actually finally like saw the light and like we have to just tear this down. Like at least they did that. At least they did.
They're a weird spot, though, because they're a team that just kind of always has just enough talent to not be totally bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Giddy kind of worked for them. And then I don't know. I kind of like these moves that they're making, but they're not going to actually help them win, but they're not going to help them tank. I don't know.
Yeah,
They've been in a weird spot.
yeah, they're in a weird spot.
They should
Well,
just draft Michael Jordan again.
they need a break like that. They really do.
Let's see the Bulls' record. I'm guessing it's going to be right in the middle.
They're the 9 seed. They're the 9 seed right now.
15, 16, 17, 18, 19. They're 19th in the total NBA.
Yeah.
So between 10 and 20 is where they've been for forever. So more like 15 to 20. So
Right. That's correct.
one of
we
the
were talking-
consistent teams.
Yeah, they're consistent. That's for sure. We were talking about Boston. Boston also made a bunch of trades to duck the tax. I guess they were just trying to be like the Sixers. I just quickly on that. I don't know. I already put out a TikTok about it, so I don't need to rehash it. But just ridiculous that the Sixers, who actually are in the Eastern Conference playoff race, you could have argued don't make a trade at all. But I think there were some moves to make. They could have used an extra forward with Paul George suspended. Instead, they trade Jared McCain to try and get under the luxury tax. Except after trading him, they still were over the luxury tax. But they could have just traded Andre Drummond and Eric Gordon and gotten under the tax, and you could have kept Jared McCain. Now, yes, you get a first-round pick for Jared McCain. You wouldn't have gotten that for Eric Gordon. But it just makes no sense to give up on a guy who's only in his second year in the league. He's coming off 2 injuries and then was playing like 10 minutes a game because Maxey plays 40 minutes a game. And then he actually just had his best week of the whole season because they finally started letting him shoot threes again. He had like 3 double-digit point games, and then they trade him. So Josh Harris, I don't even want to talk about him, but so he can fund so he can hire a lawyer. Really, is what's going on here.
So, I'm just about Jared McCain.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately for him, the Sixers got VJ Edgecombe, and him and Maxey are just revitalizing everything there. There's new birth in the city of Philly. It is back to the city of brotherly love. This duo is, like Embiid and Simmons, except it might not blow up in the face of each other. So I get it. The Sixers like, maybe we don't need McCain. I could see that. I, however, would never make a trade with Oklahoma City. I just think they're always right. And if they want Jared McCain, I would say, never mind. And Jared McCain's going to get a ton of minutes the next day because clearly they see something. And McCain is really good. Just the team kind of has some young guards, and McCain's not going to really get a big starting role. He could probably do better elsewhere. And I think they got a decent return on him. To your point, all right, now they could get under the tax, just do it, and then they don't. So it's weird. They could have just either gone one way or the other, and instead they just kind of got worse.
What I was saying was they did get under the tax, but they could have just traded
Eric Gordon.
They just could have traded Eric Gordon. Yeah, and they would.
Yeah, I think for them, they were just thinking Jared McCain is good, just he can't develop here when he's not starting all the time. So I get it, but I think when you're competing for the East and you make a trade to get worse, you need to try to make something else to get better so that you're,
Chris, they also don't have a backup point guard now because they let the Knicks get Jose Alvarado for absolutely nothing, which was also a good trade. We don't even really need to talk about that, but that was a good trade. Kyle Lowry's the backup point guard right now. I'm sure they'll sign like
Mike Conley's available.
Yeah, Mike Conley and Lonzo Ball are our options. Kyle Lowry's pretty much equal to them in my mind, honestly. Maybe not Lonzo. Lonzo's probably a little more athletically there, but he's been shooting horribly this season. I guess they just don't think this team's ready, which fair enough. After the George suspension, I think they're in a tough spot, but who cares if they're ready? Like, we've lost a million times in the playoffs. Like, let the young guys have an actual legit experience in the postseason. Like, let them compete and do it for Embiid. Embiid just averaged 30 points a game in January. We didn't even know if he'd ever be like that ever again. And he's back to himself offensively.
Well, about that, for Embiid, they're paying him more money than they probably should be and gave him a gigantic contract when he was injured. So I think Embiid, they don't owe anything to. But yeah, I think you're right to your point of get playoff experience for your guys. But here's my other thought. I think they're looking at it like there's no way they could win the finals this year, beating whoever comes out of the West. So I think some teams who haven't been to the playoffs in a while might try to go with that mentality. But the Sixers have been to a lot of playoffs in recent history. So I don't think the organization needs a playoff appearance like the Kings did a few years ago when they went all in to lose in the first round. So maybe that's why.
Make the playoffs. If they don't even make the playoffs, then
they'll make the playoffs. But I don't think they're going to go all in to win in the second round. Even I think they know that they would rather win a title in a few years and maybe get a slightly better. Well, what's this Oklahoma City pick? Is it the Thunder's pick?
It's no. It's Houston's first rounder, which is slightly better. But come on,
cool. Let's
you're trading Jared McCain
instead of 30.
Right, you're trading Jared McCain to hope you can get a Jared McCain 8 picks after he was drafted. Because Houston's not going to be in the top 20. There's no way. There's even with their injuries, I think they're still good enough. So I don't know. It's less even about McCain. I'm frustrated they traded McCain. I think they failed him in terms of his rehab and letting him get back up to speed. But it's also that the Sixers duck the tax every year. This goes back to when they were legit contenders too. They've been doing it almost every season. I think the only time they didn't might have been the 2021 season. I feel like when they picked up George Hill, that was was a hefty salary to a degree. But other than that, they kind of duck the tax every year, even when they were good, and it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. And then to duck the tax by trading a young player that everyone loves to watch after failing his recovery process, like, is just kind of unacceptable, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
for everyone, for Nurse, for Maury, and for our owner. So
I do think it's more of just the fact that you gave up this guy who was a good backup point guard, but last year looked like he was the best player in the draft. So I do see that frustration.
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, was there any other trades you wanted to cover? I feel like that's all the big moves. I don't have a
Let's
lot of
be some
Josh
little
Ryan.
ones. I'll give you some quick thoughts.
Okay. Oh, you want me to give you little ones?
Yeah, let's be the little ones. Like even Jose
Yeah, we mentioned
Alvarado.
Alvarado.
You know what? Knicks needed a point guard that could play defense at times. I like it.
Yeah. That's about all I have. Nick Richards to Milwaukee, Chris. He's going to
This is
save
the one I wanted to get to, Joe. Listen, Nick Richards to Milwaukee will save the Bucks and will keep Giannis in Milwaukee for the rest of his career. You look at a guy who's a winner. Look at Nick Richards. Proven, consistent champion. Giannis has his number 2. Giannis might now be the Robin to his Batman. And I think we have a new favorite in the East. That's what we learned. The Milwaukee's they know what they're doing. They didn't trade Giannis because they're going to contend tomorrow.
Really elite front court defense going on there. Oh, we forgot to mention Porzingis for Kuminga. Which,
yeah, I knew there were, yeah.
To be honest, I had no reaction to. Didn't move me in the slightest.
This was my favorite trade.
Really? Okay.
We are free from the Kuminga Warriors dispute.
Sure.
I could not think of a more ugly divorce between two spouses who did not deserve each other. Kuminga, honestly, is not that good. Like, he's showing some flashes. It's not working out, okay? He's not great. The Warriors are a mediocre team that can't put anything around Steph Curry for any prolonged period of time since 2019. They had one extra year of goodness in 2022. They won. Since 22, complete random, I want to say some words, dog poop.
Yeah.
So I just don't know why this was a saga that Kuminga gets more notifications than LeBron. When LeBron's unhappy, actually Kuminga got more attention. Yeah. I'm happy we're free of it. Giannis, you could say too, like, oh, we're free from the Giannis. Giannis is at least a great player. Kuminga was a somewhat high pick from the Warriors years ago who's shown nothing and has gotten more attention than anyone who's not that good. And for Porzingis, listen, when he's on the Celtics, he's surrounded by talent and he can be healthy, great. But then other times he's not, and he's interesting in moments, but he's not like the unicorn that he used to be. So I don't really know what to expect from Porzingis, but sure. Nice little move. Just getting rid of Kuminga's a win, and at least you get something back for him, because I didn't know Kuminga had any value.
Yeah, it kind of sucks that, everyone was people have wanted Golden State to get a stretch 5 and like a not an undersized center for like 4 years now. And they bring in Horford and Porzingis just like a year too late. Like both of them. They're both kind of 1 year past where I thought Porzingis was going to elevate Atlanta, but it just seems like he can't stay healthy, which we kind of already knew, but like we're past the point of return. Like it's not like, oh, Porzingis is going to miss 20 games but then come back and play well. We're at the point with him where it's like he's going to get hurt and then not really be able to contribute when he's up and running. So I guess that's a little disingenuous. Like his stats are there, but it just doesn't feel like he's impacting winning the way he was a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, I agree. When the Celtics are going their title run, you were like, oh my God, weapons ever. Porzingis made 8 free throw elbow jumpers in a row. But now it's like, he's just kind of there. But we talked about the Warriors for years wanted the stretch 5 that could actually play defense. And we thought Giannis to Warriors was heating up, him to the Timberwolves. Not to go back to Giannis, but just kind of end back on Giannis a little bit. Where would you like to see him? What makes the most sense to you?
I was intrigued by Minnesota. I hadn't really put a lot of thought into that until that notification came up. I don't like Miami. I think that's lazy. Like I think
that's the same thing as Milwaukee for him.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. We're kind of out of he's running out of options here. Well, everyone wants the Sixers, not Sixers fans, but the national media all of a sudden wants him to go to Philadelphia, which I am vehemently against. I do not think they need Giannis, Paul George. Well, Paul George would be in the trade, but I don't think they need Giannis and Embiid together I think injury wise, I'd be concerned, and I wouldn't want to give up the Edgecombe so quickly.
I think the teams that made the most sense, I think if Minnesota could get him, I think that'd be a lot of fun because Ant could really
Yeah.
shoot now. So like you have him, you have some shooting, you have good defense around him.
Mm-hmm.
They probably get rid of Gobert, and that's an automatic win. So great for
No,
Minnesota. I
they would
think
keep him.
Atlanta, I think, is a team that has a bunch of forwards. Giannis could kind of slide in. They could be a great defensive team, and Giannis can drive and kick out to those guys. And maybe the shooting's the only problem there. And then, listen, if he's on the Lakers, I'm going to watch. It's just going to be an ugly fit. But at least he can play defense. But
Look up for what it was the trade.
no, I think in the offseason, when LeBron's gone, they could just either like
Use their
try to
cap.
like use their
Okay.
cap space and trade Reeves and then whatever. So I think if they could figure something out, but they'd have to keep Luka. But I think Luka
Luka
Giannis
and
would be
Giannis.
the guy.
Wow.
I don't think that'd work. So, but the
Well, we
Lakers said they're
mentioned
interested in the offseason.
I mentioned it to you on our All-Star pod, but like get Giannis in Orlando, man, and you can go hang out with him down there.
Listen, that would probably be the team that I would like to see him on. I think Atlanta would be the most fun, but I think just the fits would. Minnesota would be cool. I would like to see him in Minnesota. But for Giannis' sake, go somewhere warm. You've been in Milwaukee for so long, like.
Yeah.
I just feel bad. I look out the window. It's dark right now. It's only 5:30, and I don't know. If it's me, I'm going to Texas or Florida.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think Atlanta and Orlando could both be good options. It's just like I'm not sure what Giannis's preference is going to be. I guess because he's been in Milwaukee, like, would he be open to those kind of franchises, or is it the opposite? Is he going to want to go to like a Heat, a Lakers? Like, what is he thinking? I guess he hasn't, and he refuses to talk about it. So he keeps saying he wants to be in Milwaukee. So we'll see.
If I'm thinking about it, I'm so great. I want to win another title. I'd probably want to stay in the East. But if you're staying in the East, you have to go to a team that you believe could actually beat the top team in the West.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to Boston. Maybe he'd want to go to Philly, but I don't think that would work. And then maybe Atlanta's the only one that he could bring up. I just don't know what other team could really do it besides. And like the Magic already traded their picks for Bane, so they're kind of stuck. But
that's true.
You might have to just go to the West where all the teams are better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that might be how it shakes out. I guess we'll see. I mean, I'm sure we'll be doing a pod about that in the summer. So I don't know.
Can't wait. Well, Joe, any other trades you want to get to, or that wraps it all up?
I think that's it.
Perfect.
I don't want to talk about Tyus Jones or Xavier Tillman. Like, we can move on. Nobody wants to hear.
Where did Xavier Tillman go? I missed that one.
The Charlotte Hornets. The Celtics got under the tax by trading him. I could care less.
The Hornets make another sneaky trade. I like him.
I don't know. Does Tillman even play anymore?
I don't know, but I liked him a few years ago. It was in my notes.
Fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Well, that will wrap up probably the basketball discussion for probably until the finals. Kidding. But we'll talk about them a little bit more. Just kidding. But for Pain and Panic, we just posted our Super Bowl episode. Then we're gonna have Super Bowl recap stuff. But that's what we're gonna do. Joe, you have any plans of what you're doing next?
I'll be on this pod. We're gonna do. Am I allowed to tease what we're doing?
Tease it, Joe. Tease it.
We're ranking the past top 10 Super Bowl winners. We're gonna rank it this year's winner, whoever it is, all the way back to that 2016 Patriots team. I'm excited to be part of that. I'm glad I got the invite for that. That's very exciting. Yeah,
invite only, very exclusive club. But yeah, no, when the Thunder won, we were looking at other teams that won recent history and how that would work. And I was like, let's do it for football because I think it's pretty interesting. So we'll get that soon after the Super Bowl. But everyone, enjoy the weekend here. Hope you all enjoyed the NBA trade deadline. Kind of brings some new energy to basketball. But now we're just going to all go back to football for the next few days because the NBA needs to move this back 1 week and then take over the next week. But they don't want to do it. Anyways, thank you all for listening. Go follow Trust the Podcast or follow Pain and Panic. Both of us, why not? Stay tuned to our social medias, and we will see you next time.